Hi guys. Hello, hello. Welcome to Amityville Apothecary Live. I see the alert going. I'll give it a few moments for people to join in. Hello, hello. Hi. How are you? All right, Doreen. Welcome. You got to just send a little request to join. Here you go. Hi, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. Hi,
Oh,
everyone. Hi.
hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Everyone's just joining, and I'm gonna put it on my computer too, just so I can see the comments a little bit better.
Yes.
Because
I was thinking of doing that myself.
let me just turn the volume off. Okay, the volume's off there. You look lovely. I love that blue color.
Oh, thank you. It's my favorite.
I love it. I love it. Okay, and it looks like I'm buffering. Okay, now I'm going. Great. So, people are still joining. We have like almost 20 people. I'm so glad that you're able to be here. Hi, everyone.
Yes.
We have a really nice group of folks that have been joining like every night, and then there's newcomers that come too. So it's been a lot of fun.
Oh,
Different
that's
types of
awesome.
discussion. So today in New York was spectacular. The weather was beautiful. Did some hiking. Did you get out
Yes.
today, Doreen?
I got to do my work outside in the backyard, so that was nice,
Nice.
actually.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
sat with the jacket, but got a lot of sun. So that was very, very exciting.
Beautiful. Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
So, for the folks who are on the live, I'm Danielle from Amityville Apothecary. I'm one of the owners along with Dina. And my guest tonight is a dear, close, wonderful friend of mine named Doreen Bear. Her handle is Just Ask Doreen, and her nickname is Little Miss Sunshine. But Doreen has many, many gifts and talents, and our daughters grew up together, and we became good friends as a result. But I'd like to think without that friendship, we would still be friends anyway. Um,
Yeah.
so Doreen has many gifts in terms of spiritual gifts, and I would love for her to do a quick introduction. And tonight's theme of the discussion will be about numerology, but your skills go beyond that too.
Oh, well, thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Amityville Apothecary, for having me this evening. I'm really excited. I am really excited about numerology because I love numbers and I love to talk about them, and I think we're going to have a really good time. But as Danielle said, I do many things, and I have been on this spiritual journey, if you would, for, well, I guess about a quarter of a century, I'll say. So I started when I was 2. No, I'm kidding. No, but I was very fortunate to start on this path young, and it's been amazing. So I always say in my day life, I kind of now intertwined it all. But I'm a motivational speaker and an empowerment coach. I do numerology. I use it in my practice of coaching. I do practice mediumship and spirituality in many other ways, and and I just like helping people become the best version of themselves that they can, and that's through whichever tool or path that they would like to use that helps them do that and feel comfortable and be positive and happy and better when they've left after we've worked together.
Totally. And I will also add on that you're a master networker and you're very well connected in the corporate world as well as in the spiritual world. And, one of the gifts that I feel like I was bestowed in life is that I have an uncanny ability to maintain a network of relationships and be like, oh, you need to meet with this one and you need to meet with this one. And I would say the person that I most closely relate to with that skill set is you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I mean, I do love people. And
Yeah.
as Danielle knows, we actually did work in the same industry. And I spent a lot of time in marketing and sales, and I'm still in that area. And I used to joke and say, like, I hit the lottery every 2 weeks. I mean, I really just get paid to talk to people, which is amazing. And it's my most favorite fun thing to do because I love to learn about people and what they're made of in whatever capacity we meet. So yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Good, good. So we asked our friends what additional themes or topics do you want to hear from us about, because each night we've had different guests, many of our practitioners, we've had specialty discussions, we've had readings, we've had live sales, and numerology came up as part of that discussion list. And I immediately called you. So I'm so thrilled that you were able to be here tonight, because we've had you at the shop as a guest. But when this lifts, hopefully we'll be able to continue that.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, you do have a practice that people can follow up with one-on-one consults. But
Yes.
let's talk about numerology, because it's been around forever. Numbers are
Yes.
universal.
Yes.
And I know that you're really passionate about it. So do you want to start off by just giving like a broad stroke, and then we'll go from there?
Sure. Absolutely. So from a numerology standpoint, everybody is familiar with Pythagoras. This is usually the easiest way to understand it. So the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's not what numerology is, but that's the best way to describe who created Western numerology. There are three types, but Western numerology is the easiest one and the one that mirrors how we can use it as a tool in our everyday life. And Pythagoras, as a math theorist, believed that numbers had unique that people had unique qualities, and that different vibrations that he assigned numbers to. And so there's only 9 numbers, 1 through 9. And everything you do in numerology is reduced down to a single digit. And also your numeric profile is unique only to you, because it is made up of your birth name, your birthday, and then it takes into account the name that you choose to use and go by. You'll find in some of the books, and actually I will talk about it a little later, but this is like one of my favorite books, if you can see it. Glynis Has Your Number. And this is a really, really easy book and a how-to. So after you talk to me, like, basically, if you can read and you can add, you can do this for yourself at
Great.
home. And it's also so much fun. It's fun with your family, with your friends. I mean, I've used it with clients. I do it in corporate groups. It helps people understand different dynamics. But I think her book is an incredible tool. But getting back to just the basics. So each number, as I said, has different qualities that are assigned to them. And the numbers are actually broken down into subgroups. Everything is in the book. I'm going to just hold this up. I wrote this out because I thought this might be easy if everybody could say. I don't know. Is that backwards, Danielle, or you could say it?
It looks backwards.
Oh, okay. So
People can derive what it is.
yeah, yeah. So essentially, I didn't think about that, like a mirror image. But if you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 across on a page, like, I'm just going to show it to you with my finger, and then you write out the alphabet underneath each number, you will see that any word, name, place that has an A, a J, or an S in it would be assigned a 1. So that's how you get the alphabetic part of the numerology, because your name plays a part in this. And then the numbers themselves, they're broken down into 3 groups. So the first group are called the business numbers, 2, 4, 8. Okay. Those are, when I use 3 words, it makes it really easy to understand. So 2, 4, 8, those are the business numbers. Those are the doers. Okay. Then you have 1, 5, 7. Those are the thinkers. They're all in their mind. They're very cerebral people. And then we have 3, 6, 9. Those are the creative numbers, and they're the dreamers. And I'm assigning these descriptions to people because everybody has, when you add up your birthday, you have something called your life path. It is your purpose. It is what you're here to accomplish. It derives all of the characteristics about you, and it gives you the perception people have of you, what you're supposed to do, and sort of basically what makes you tick.
Hmm.
And it's a math equation that helps you understand yourself a little bit better. And it also helps you understand the people around you. So like I said, I've done this for groups or for couples or for friends. And there are certain numbers that are attracted to one another. There's groups of numbers that come together. And also, like if you were doing it, let's say in a work setting, I've done it where people don't know their numbers, but I've broken them up into groups and put them with their life path numbers.
Ah,
And it's so interesting because people are very recognizable by their traits and what they're doing. And then they can see people that might be a challenge to them because they just come at something from a very different space, if that makes sense.
it does.
Okay.
Because I relate a lot to like astrology. So I think there's certain
Yes.
traits that are similar. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing, like, and again, numerology is a tool, right?
Yep.
Like astrology, like,
All of
numerology, all of
Yep.
these are just tools. And I call them like tools, and it's guidance that just helps you understand
Right.
people. And this is truly just math. I mean, I love actually when I'm doing this for people, or like I'll be at work and I'll just tell people their numbers and like, oh, how did you know that? Like I didn't. I just added it up. Pythagoras knew it all. So there's like, this is not anything that I am doing, but most definitely the traits usually always measure up. And
So
the important, oh, go ahead.
the life path is made up of what? All of the different numbers associated with your first and last name at birth?
Well, no. Your life path is made up of your birthday.
Oh, okay.
And then your name plays another role. Like your whole numerical profile
Mm-hmm.
has different parts of, there's 6 different numbers that you have in
Okay.
your profile. But the easiest one, and the thing that we'll focus on tonight that you can figure out right away,
Yeah.
is your life path. It's something that you can tell about somebody instantly by knowing them. And anybody who has worked in a corporate setting, who
Mm-hmm.
has done personality tests, it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it a cheat for Myers-Briggs, which I've done a few times,
Right.
over my career. And when I started my coaching practice, what I would do, I took about 25 people who I knew had done Myers-Briggs, and then I matched their numeric profile, like their life path, up, and it basically was a mirror to that, but a very
Wow.
quick way to get there. But it just gives
Yeah.
you insight. So if someone's coming to me and they are talking about their goals or what they want to do, if it's a relationship, if it's work, the life path and that part of the numerical profile, which there's 3 numbers that are in there, and I'm going to explain that, give you this picture. It's a snapshot of what works for that person, and
Right.
maybe why they're not feeling fine. Because if what you're supposed to do and those characteristics and those qualities are not present in your life, you're not going to be happy, because
Right.
you're not fulfilling what you're supposed to be doing. I'm going to use myself as an example because it's easy to
Good.
do. And so there's 3 numbers that are made up in your birthday. So you have your birthday number, so my birthday is August the 4th,
Mm-hmm.
1971. Okay. So now everybody knows how old I am. Okay. So my birthday number actually is a single digit, so we don't have to break that down.
Okay.
But it's the number 4. Okay. And then you take the month and the day, and that gives you your attitude number. So you have a birthday number, an attitude number, and then we're going to get to the life path. So my birthday number is a 4, August 4th. And then you have August, which is an 8. So
Mm-hmm.
you take the 8 and the 4, and that makes 12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you take 12, you have to remember single digits. 1 plus 2 of the 12 equals 3.
Mm-hmm.
So my attitude number, the way people perceive me, is a 3. I'm
Okay.
going to get to what all of that means.
Okay.
And then my birthday number is a 4. So those are like inner characteristics, part of
Mm-hmm.
who I am, the makeup of me, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you take 1971. So it's literally 1 plus 9 equals 10, plus
Mm-hmm.
7 is 17, plus 1 is 18, right?
Yep.
And so now, oops, sorry.
Okay.
We're having, okay. I think I'm just having a little technical difficulties the way I had my, my phone. So I'll just be like a little shifted, but it's just another perspective. Sorry,
There it
everybody.
goes.
We may have to just change that for a moment and put it there. So that'll be better.
Okay.
Okay. So, um,
Hold on. You started buffering. Okay. Now you're crooked to the side.
okay, hold on. Here we go.
Perfect. You're back right.
Okay, sorry everybody.
It happens.
Okay, so so then we take 1971, so 10 and 8 is 18, and 1 plus 8 is 9. Okay, that's the year of
Yep.
my birth. And then you take that 9 of the year and you add it to your attitude number.
Mm-hmm.
So literally 9 plus 3 equals 12 again, which gives you another 3.
Another 3. Okay.
Okay. So if you guys did it across a page, and I'm going to show it to you right here, if I can do it this way. So it's 8 plus 4 plus 1, 9, 7, 1. So we have 8 and 4, which is 12, which comes to 3. Can we see
Yep.
that?
Yep.
Okay. And then you have the 4, which we already know. And then this number was 9, right? We added that. 9 plus 3 equals 12, which gives you a 3 again. Okay. Which
Okay. So
means,
that's your life path number then?
so my life path is a 3. My attitude is a 3. And my birthday is a 4.
Got it.
So here's the very funny thing. So remember when I told you there were those 3 groups of people?
Yes.
So the life path is that defining thing that drives you, your purpose, who you are, and those other numbers give you traits on how people perceive you on the outside, how you conduct yourself, and also like things that drive you. So 3s were the creative numbers, the dreamers. So when I did my Myers-Briggs profile, if anybody is familiar with it, there were 4 quadrants. And without using the acronyms, like the red and the yellow were very creative. I used to call that like living footloose and fancy free, like in the land of what could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the blue and green was very structured, regimented. It's kind of where the business and the thinking numbers lie.
Mm-hmm.
And so my profile was like literally living in creativity, and in moments of stress, I would move to the blue and green. So my numeric profile is very much like that. So I'm a double 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double creative. And then my birthday, the 4, is the doer number. It's the number of structure. So it's a business number, and then each number represents something different. So if you're looking at, let's say, the 248 in that first breakdown, 2 is the business of emotion, 4 is the business of structure,
Yeah.
and 8 is the business of money. So it's the CEO number, and it's not money in material things. It's money in freedom, financial and spiritual freedom. So
Cool.
where it gives you the opportunity, but that 4 is the structure. And so those who know me might think I might be all over the place. There are a few people I've seen that have signed in that think that but I do know what's going on. I really do. And I am organized in my own chaos. And the truth is that even in sales for all those years, like I love ideas. I love sharing solutions. I love talking to people. But when it came down to breaking things down and numbers and people, I can do it very easily. And that's what my numeric profile tells me.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing about your path and what you're supposed to do was when I started the coaching practice and Just Ask Doreen was born, I had left advertising and marketing, which I'd been doing for 20 years. And I didn't leave to do that. I left because of a slew of events, personally, professionally, with my family, a nanny that got stuck in Munich, my husband having to go to Brazil and losing a whole bunch of money on one of my accounts. Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, so I said, okay, I think I need to take a break. And I left work and was going to spend time with the kids, stay home, kind of regroup. And the interesting thing about that was, so now threes, there's a defining characteristic about a three. And they say, there's a quote about every number. I'm just using mine because it's the easiest one to explain because it's me. Is that when a three believes something, in the end, you will believe it too. It's because the gift of a three and the creative numbers, that three is communication. So usually people who are threes are people who use their voice as their tool. So I was in sales, I do speaking, I do coaching. I could have been an actress. I was a singer. Like it's very creative in nature, but in ways like politics or acting, whatever it is where you're using your voice. And I'm a double three. So imagine, I mean, I do talk a lot. I mean, look at this. I'm having so much fun. And so,
I love you.
but what happened was when I came home and I was with my children and they went to school, and now I wasn't working on literally the largest brand of the Fortune, 500 companies anymore, and running all this business, not necessarily people, but just this business, and having all these people to talk to and all these different outlets. I was miserable. Yeah, absolutely miserable. And I really didn't understand why until I actually had thought about it, because I had learned about numerology during my time, doing this, leading up to it. And it was that I thrived on the energy of people. I needed to talk. I needed an outlet. I needed to express myself. And the only two people I was talking to were my, 7 and 9-year-olds who didn't really want to listen to me. And, they were not a great audience for what I needed to do. Even when they weren't listening, I'd be like, don't you know that mommy used to talk to people and they would listen to what I had to say? They weren't interested. So I learned a lot more by leaving, and it validated what I was learning about people and about taking the learnings of the Myers-Briggs, taking numerology, putting it together. And then, clients of mine who had become friends said, you should really be a life coach. And I was like, I don't really know if I like that. But the truth was, it was all about problem solving solutions. So, it didn't have to be about supply chain or how to sell your products. It could be about anything. And
we talked about coaching last night. Like coaching, spiritual coaching. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But
helping to break it down into palatable and actionable solutions, and holding accountability and charting out a course. So absolutely. Right. Yeah.
And what is great for a three and for someone like me is by using that practice is being able to communicate and help people. And it's really, none of these things are my decisions, but they are me using that creativity and problem solving, which all lines up to those numbers. Yeah. So when it was absent, so there's that positive and negative, right, of everything in life. And so whether it's your astrology sign, I'm a Leo, so there's positive and negatives to being a Leo. And so you always want to try and stay on that positive side of your numbers. But what I found was that the positive was that I'm a great communicator. I love to communicate. It gave me great joy and great passion. And when I was doing it, I had joy and I was happy. And when I wasn't, I really was unhappy. And then by default, I was then not very good to anyone around me. And so I had to quickly find my way back. So, and coaching individually wasn't necessarily the answer, because I still wasn't getting the energy of the people, because I had that double three. So I don't just need people. I need a lot.
It's a different volume for you. It's a different volume. Right. So yeah, that wasn't enough. And I get it. So that's
And
very interesting. And I think it's
yeah,
just as important to know what is not for you, and you give it a
yes,
try, and to understand what is not for you. And then you say like,
yeah,
okay, you know what, I had to leave it in order to understand that actually that was it was much more preferable.
absolutely. Like if someone said to me, you're going to be a researcher, you're going to be in an office, there's no windows. Oh, and you can't talk to people for 8 hours a day. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
Now, there are people in life, right? That might be a choice I'd have to make. If I had no job, if I had no income, I have a family, and
Right.
someone said, you know what, Doreen, I need you to research this and do that. The truth is, I might make the choice to do it because I have to for a period of time, but
Right.
I would, knowing what I know about myself and what these numbers say, is that I just don't have that in me.
Well,
It's not who I am.
it's
And
being in
that's,
alignment with your highest self and what you're
yes.
destined to be doing. And that's, a big part of the apothecary's goal, using all of these different tools to define what's your higher self, what's your life's path, what are you feeling called, drawn to do, and how can you make adjustments to be in alignment with that and shed everything that's not serving you or not in accordance with your greatest good. Yeah.
Exactly. And and you will meet people, you will work with people, you'll marry people, be in relationships with people, have neighbors who are people who maybe their numbers are not aligned with you,
Yeah.
or
And
they're different.
that's a
And
that's a good point. So what I was thinking about as you were talking about these different personality traits and your number profiles, it's almost like that book, Five Love Languages. So
yes,
understanding what your love language is, your number one and number two, and how you choose to like receive and express love, but also
yes,
for your partners or your children or your family members to understand how they express love or receive love so that you can speak in that language and you have better insight. And that's what astrology
absolutely.
does, and that's what numerology does, because it provides the insight to know the characteristics and traits that may drive you or what your purpose may be, so that it's almost like getting an edge or a head start on things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have a really good example. I always laugh. I'm like, if I had known about numerology when I got married, like I don't know if I'd be married. No.
Well, thank
So
God you are, because he's
I
great.
I am, and he is wonderful. And I will say, when I did learn about it, so
Yeah.
what you read in the book, and there are there's more than one book. I actually have another one which actually has a workbook in it. So it's the Complete Idiot's Guide to Numerology, but
I
it
love those
literally it
guides.
literally has like where you can do the math yourself. But in Glynis's book, she has another book after this, which is, she has your number and it's straight numerology. She has Love by the Numbers.
Oh,
So all of those three groups, when they break down your profile, there are compatible numbers, there are natural match numbers, and then there are challenge numbers. So natural matches,
sure.
let's say for me, would be a 3, right? That is a natural match. Challenge numbers, um, if I didn't have that 4, which is structure, like a lot of those challenge numbers would be the business numbers for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband, interestingly enough, we're not going to do his birthday, but I will tell you what his numbers are. So I'm a double 3 and a 4, and my husband's life path is an 8. That is a challenge number, and I will explain why. And his birthday number is a 6, which is a creative number. So that is a compatible number to my 3s because it's
Hmm.
369. And then his attitude number is a 1. So that's a cerebral number, it's a thinking number, but it's a very inward number.
Mm.
So think of the numbers on the spectrum, right? 1 is the beginning, 9 is the end. So 9 is the evolution of all numbers. And 1 is the beginning. So think of it as like birth to the end, right?
Yeah.
So you're focused on yourself in the beginning, and then you're focused on the greater good, if you
Hmm.
would, or the universe and the betterment of everything for 9. And because 9 has all the numbers incorporated in it, every which way you add all the numbers, there is a they add up to 9.
Huh.
So for my husband, having 8 as a life path. So
Yeah.
if anyone remembered what I said earlier, it's the CEO number. 8s are extremely direct. They are very black and white. It's their way or the highway. They see it one way. And
Huh.
I, as the double 3, the communicator, I want everybody happy, like, like peace, love, joy, happiness. And when I read this in the book, and this was like an epiphany. Every married couple fights, people, bicker, they have different ideas and we're different, but yet we were very much alike because we were both in sales, we both love people, we like being social, but these differences were interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always say, "You're so mean. Why are you so mean? Why are you saying it like that?" And he would say, "What are you talking about? This is just the way it is. What does mean mean? I don't even know what that means." And just by me describing that is like literally, he can't help himself. He sees it in a certain way.
Right.
And so what she talks about, which is interesting, is it doesn't mean we can't be married. It's like the same thing as if I'm a Leo, he's an Aries. That's like a whole other story, right? But
Well,
it's remembering.
a
I
lot of
know, yeah,
fire.
two fire signs.
Yeah.
We don't know how to put paper in the printer, but we get a lot of things done in other ways. And so the interesting thing is what she says is that the 8 has to always remember who they're speaking to. And like everybody needs like a little bit of like a warning before like, this direct assault, if you would. And the 3 has to remember what the 8 actually is trying to accomplish and meaning to say.
Right.
Like he's not trying to be mean. That's his delivery. He literally cannot help himself. And we always joke because like the 8 is like the infinity symbol, right? Remember I talked about it's the money number.
Yep.
So you're either really frugal or you're really frivolous. It's one way or the other. And so they go back and forth in what it gives them. And so I have that 4 in my profile, so I understand him because I understand the structure and the business and what it means. And he has that 6 in his profile, which albeit is not as, let's say the ratio isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
Sixes are great parents. They're great nurturers. They want to be the best at everything that they can do, which complements his 8. But it also makes him more in line with me, in that emotion and the creativity. So
Huh.
you can always find sort of the balance, but it's really just understanding what those numbers mean and how they relate to your relationship or who you're with or who you report to or who your children are. Like
Yeah.
my kids are a whole nother ball of wax. That could
Wow.
be a whole other session.
Yeah, they're different personalities in and of themselves. But hold on,
Yeah.
somebody asked, okay, Gigi asked, what if her dates are 726? But then Olivia said, would 11s get along with all 3 groups of people? But there isn't an 11 because it gets broken down into a single digit, right?
It is. It's a 2. An 11 is a 2. And 11 though, and this is also covered in the book, 11 is a karmic number. It's a powerful number.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very spiritual number. And 2s, remember I said 2 is the business of emotion. So if you're an 11
Right.
and a 2, because you could be a 20 and you're a 2, but if you're an 11 and you're a 2, it's very powerful and it's very emotional. So remember I talked about positive and negative. So 2 is actually a really good number to show the difference. So if you
Olivia's
take,
highly spiritual and powerful. She's like a small but mighty, but very spiritual. She reminds
okay,
me of you.
okay. So then Olivia, if you think about yourself and you think about sort of what makes you tick, I would say, without knowing you, that if you were 2, like when you are good, you are amazing and happy and it is amazing. But when you're mad and when it's not good, you are not good. It's like equally powerful on both ends. It's an extreme because it is literally the business of emotion. So I use these numbers because everybody knows what they are. And depending on, what, however you think, if you are an American or you're not American, 9/11 and July 4th are both a 2. So, and I use that example is because depending on which side of that number you sat on, it was as meaningful, as passionate, as powerful for the person living and being part of that number. And it just is that extremist. So like my son is a 2 as a life path. He is born at 9/11 in the morning, right? His attitude is a 2. I mean, it's amazing. And he said to me, Mommy, what does that mean? I'm like, it means your rivers run very deep, kid, and this is going to be a long haul. And I say that because they're so emotional.
Yeah.
And 2s they feel everything. And they take things very personally because they care about people. They're connectors. They're incredible connectors.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. He's a Scorpio moon, so I know he feels real deep. But I wonder if he's a 2. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it could be in different parts of his profile or his name. But 2s are like, oh, you need a chiropractor? I have a chiropractor. Oh, you need a neurologist? I have a neurologist. Oh, you need a doctor? Like, they're incredible connectors because they're very passionate about bringing people together, because it's all tied to how it's going to make them feel. Like the ending outcome is really, sort of the benefit of it. But they're also usually very psychic and empathic because of that emotion. And so, like, since we're in that, in that spiritual mindset, that is, and I see it come true every day. Charlie isn't exactly a reader, but I mean, he sees spirit, he feels different things, he's attracted to this, he wants to know, he watches YouTube and ghost hunters, and I find it so funny because his numbers would definitely tell me he would be on that trajectory. But even as just a regular 12-year-old boy, like, you're so mean to me, everybody's so mean, because everything is about him. Because he's a 1. So he's at the beginning stage, right? And then
like Aries.
Right.
Aries is the first of the zodiac. So it's like, pop out at birth. Here I am. I've arrived, and let's go. A little fire starter. So there you go. Hold on. There's some questions.
Absolutely.
So let's see. The first question is, how do you add up the year? I got a bit lost.
Oh, okay, sure. Can you ask them what year they are, and I'll just give me their birthday, and I'll make it easy for them.
And Olivia says, thank you.
You're welcome.
My soul plan. How do you add up the year? What is your year, so that she can walk you through it, honey? Just type in your year so she can walk through. And then soul and moon, I will ask your question after that, because otherwise, if we try to do too much, it'll get all over the place.
Yeah, no problem.
This is good.
Okay. All right.
All right, 1983.
Okay. So 1983 would be 1 + 9 + 8 + 3. So 1 + 9 is always 10. So I put that on top. And then 8 + 3 is 11. And then you take 10 + 11 is 21, which means your year is a 3, because it's 2 + 1. Does that make sense? But if you literally went across the year, 1 + 9 is 10, + 8 is 18, + 3 is 21. You get there the same way.
Okay.
I just break it down in those ways because you always know if you were born in the 1900s, which is a different century to like some people, because there are those in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different,
Yeah.
like our children. Exactly. So your year would be a 3.
Okay.
And then to get your life path, you take your month and your day, you add that and bring it down to one digit, and then you add it to the 3.
Got it.
So I'm making this up. If your birthday was on March 3rd, your life path would be a 9, because it would be 3 + 3 + 3. And that's how you would get a 9. And then even if you did your attitude number and your birthday number, the way I said, you add the two numbers, 3 plus 3, March 3rd, 3 plus 3 would be 6, and then 6 plus 3 still equals 9.
Cool.
It's like no matter how you add it, it always comes out the same.
I can't wait to figure this out for myself. How fun.
Yeah, it is lots of fun.
The other question is, what's the significance of the birth date versus the attitude number versus the life path?
Okay, so your life path, like think of it as in like values. Your life path is the most important number of the whole profile, right? So that is your soul's purpose of what you are supposed to achieve. And then your birthday number are these characteristics that are part of you. They are part of who you are, how you think, how you interact, and it works. Obviously, it adds up into your life path. So it is how you do achieve that purpose. And then the attitude number, which is the month and the day, when you put that together, is how other people perceive you. So where I said that my life path is a 3, but my attitude is also a 3,
right?
Would make sense because most people perceive me exactly the same way as, what I believe my purpose is.
So, Doreen, I don't know how savvy you are with astrology. I think enough to be dangerous. So, I mean,
Probably.
when I hear you speak about it, I think almost of like the birthday is like my sun sign. It's like the core essence of who I am and what I'm like. And then my rising sign is the mask with which I wear that other people perceive me. Like first impression is
correct.
that. And then my north node is what my life's path is supposed to be. So like if I find out what my north node is, would you say that that's?
Yeah, I would say that's very accurate. If you understand one, you could relate it to that.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because some people would say like, what if my I think like what if my birthday was an 8, but I was also a 3 and a 3? I might have a bite to the way I speak, and I might be conflicted in my delivery of things since I'm spending so much time talking and communicating with people, but I still have that very direct, straightforward trait if I were an 8. I'm just making that up, of course.
Right. Interesting. Okay, so somebody said, my soul plan said, now I'm curious. I'm 8/14. So she got a 4, 5, and 3.
Okay, so 5 is her birthday.
Well, 8 plus 1 plus 4 is 8, 9, 13.
It's still a 4.
It's a 4.
Yes. Yeah, it's a 4. So it's a 4 attitude, but a 5 birthday.
Yeah.
Is that the same person?
3 was the year.
Okay. So then she's an 8 life path, a 4 attitude. Oh, wait. It was a 4, right? 4 and 3, so 7.
Yeah, and we broke down her year earlier, and that was a 3.
Right. So 3, and so 3 and 4 is 7. So so she's a 3, 5, 7. No, wait, 3, 4, 7. Sorry. Wait. No, hold on. No. 7 is her life path. I'm sorry. I'm looking at too many numbers at the same time. 5 is her birthday, and 4 is her attitude.
Okay.
So, right? Is this 8/14/1983? Is this the person? Same person?
Yeah.
Okay. So your birthday is a 5. Your attitude is a 4. And then your life path is a 7.
Okay.
So I would say if I didn't know you, I don't know you, I would say that you are probably very much in your head. You think a lot. You're always wondering, like, what is the meaning of this? What is the purpose? Why am I doing this? 7s, as a rule, like 5s are always questioning. They're pioneers, they're adventurers, they love to travel, they like to learn, they're always seeking more. That's the birthday, right? But
That's the
7s, yeah. But 7s as a life path, So remember how I said there was a quote about every number? So sevens are just here observing humans, okay? Because there's a larger plan. Like anytime
Mm-hmm. Sounds like
that like
Sagittarius.
yes. So anytime somebody would say like it's a 7 day, or there was the seven was the characteristic of whatever the event was or a light path. The person who taught me all of this would always say, well, God had a bigger plan that day. So it's whatever you believe, the universe or God or nature, whatever you adhere to, sevens always need to be connected to something larger than what they are.
Yeah.
Because there's a greater meaning. Like if anybody remembers St. Elmo's Fire, like what is the meaning of life? Dale Beaverman. No,
Yeah.
but that's what sevens would ask. They would want to know, like, why, what is the purpose of this, right? So they're
Yes.
always questioning things. They're always in their head. And here's a very interesting thing about you, and you should know this, and the person who's with you or your friends, sevens need to be alone to recharge. They need to become not introverted, but need to really have time by themselves to regenerate, recharge, and to be ready to go back out there again.
Just
And
from
so,
hearing that, I relate to seven. I'm curious to see if I'm seven. It's one of my core numbers. I think probably. That's
yeah.
very interesting.
Well, and it's funny because there's an old saying, so I don't know if people are familiar with it. It's like, I'm all sixes and sevens. It means like I'm all kind of torn up. It's because they're counterintuitive.
Sure.
Sixes are very like emotional and creative and outward, and then sevens are also very outward in the greater part of thinking, but
Right.
in their minds, right? And so this is a really good example. So I have a friend who also has a 3 in her profile, but she's a 7, where I have that 4. And so when we were going on business trip once and we're going to LA, we're on a plane. I was like, yeah, like we got 5 hours. We're gonna talk. It's gonna be so great. She's like, I sent you my email. I want to listen to music. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
are you kidding me? Like, what are you talking about?
For a
Like
time.
she needed that time.
Mm-hmm.
But and like back in the day, you know, because I was born a little while ago, if a 3 comes home and the answering machine had no messages, I would be like, oh my God, nobody even thought of me today. Like nobody cared where I was. The 7 would say, oh my God, thank God I don't have to call anybody back. I've had such a long day. And you have to just like appreciate that. It's
Mm-hmm.
about knowing who a person is. So if like you're married to somebody and they're a 7 and you're a 3 or a 6, and they say, you know, I'm just gonna sleep in the other room tonight, and you're like, it's not about you. It's
Right.
not about you at all. It's really about what they need. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just understanding what makes somebody tick and what they need to be their best version and you know,
I love
of
that.
themselves.
Hold on, I'm going to type in the name of the book again, and we're going to have to order these books that you recommend, obviously. The
Yeah.
Complete Idiot's Guide to Numerology is
To numerology.
but the first
And
one that is you said is your
oh,
favorite. It's
yeah, my favorite is Glynis Has Your Number, and it's by Glynis McCants. And that's McCants. And that one I think is the best. I mean, she's been doing it for over 30 years, and
okay.
she gives really great examples of people and celebrities that people will understand and relate to and see sort of how the numbers play out.
Yeah.
So because your name is part of your profile, like
Mm-hmm.
she even talks about like there are some people who are celebrities who've chosen names based
Yeah.
on numerology. Like my numerology changes when I became Doreen Bayer versus I was Doreen Barilli.
Right.
And you know, if you go by Danny or Danielle, it
Yes.
changes.
Totally.
And so you know, the core of who you are is not different, and what your birth given name is not different, but then there are sort of like, I call them like addendums, right? Like
Yeah.
to an altering a path, or you know, a road you'd like to take, and that kind of is what drives you because it's part of who you are.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Doreen, you need to know the feedback has just been like amazing. I know it's hard to see the little
Oh
scripts.
yeah,
Why I'm glad I
I
have
know.
a larger
I
screen.
know. I'm like, now I have
I
glasses,
know.
so I can say, I know.
The other day,
It's
my friend
hilarious.
Emily was commenting. I go, oh, hell no, Em. There's no way I'm reading that. But they said definitely, first of all, we are going to order the books. Everybody will be able to get those. But they're just saying it's so interesting. And oh, Shadow Dancer had a reading with you at the Apothecary
Oh,
when
okay.
you came in for
Oh,
that guest day. So we're definitely going to
awesome.
have you back. Now, Doreen, because we only have like 10 minutes left, let's use
Yeah.
this as an opportunity, because you're not, you're working a full-time job, but you're doing this, with your schedule. So how would people book time with you?
You just go to my website, justaskdoreen.com, and just so intuitively, you're going to spell my name EEN, but it's Doreen, Dorene.
I
Just
typed
ask
it.
Doreen.
Yeah.
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 And it's actually right on my Instagram profile too. You could just click in, and then there is an area that says numerology readings, and there is a schedule. So there's my availabilities in there, and you can just book online.
Yeah.
And you just provide the information that you need ahead of time. And I do this via Zoom, especially obviously in these times.
Yep.
So we can see one another and talk, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be in person, of course. But it makes it really easy and convenient, and we can always find some time. So
yeah, I mean, I wish we had unlimited time, because everybody was putting in their birthdays and like that. It's just fascinating how you're able to break it down, and just it's so fun, and you could see how you go down the rabbit hole, because this is just scratching the surface, I'm sure, of so many aspects, and then relationship dynamic, like it's
oh, everybody always says, oh wait, could you do my boyfriend? Could you do my mom? Could you do my sister? And it's really so funny. Like, even when I started in this new role that I'm in, that I do during the day, full time, and people would be like, wait a minute, can you do this? Or they're like, I can't believe it, my boyfriend did this the other day. And I was like, oh my God, he's a 7. That's what she told me. And I'm like, I'm laughing. I'm like, he's just who he is. I just gave you the definition of the number. So
I love that.
this is fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they don't lie. The numbers don't lie. It's just math.
Oh, so. I'm going to have so much fun. I'm going to be like doing this for myself, my kids, my parents, my potential dates that I'm going to go on. I'll be like,
oh, yes.
I'm sorry, you're not compatible. You're out.
Or you're like, this might be too much of a challenge. I don't think I'm going to go down this road. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we will be saving this. We're going to save all of our lives. We're in the process of downloading and saving them, and we will be uploading them. It's not an easy process to take it from Instagram and save it and then put it onto our YouTube. Oh, this is a really fun thing. Beltane's coming this weekend. It's a holiday. It's a seasonal holiday, and it's associated with fire and passion and a little sensuality. So carnelian stone and like St. Bridget and little hot numbers. So we all put together dance mixes on Amityville Apothecary's YouTube channel. So if you go to playlists, we all have our own YouTube dance mixes, and whoever gets the most likes, we have like a little friendly competition going. And it's so fun. And mine's typical fashion, like all over the place, but it's just, I don't know, it's fun and goofy. So go check out our playlist too, and like give thumbs up for who you's like the best. Mine's first, of course. But yeah, no, we have different programming every night. So tomorrow night we're going to be talking about astral travel. Doreen is available to be booked for private appointment via her website. If you don't know how to get hold of her, she's a dear friend of mine. I can put you in touch with her. So don't worry. You could always private message us. And Doreen, we will definitely have you back as soon as we're able to. But this has been so absolutely
Thank
fun.
you. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I love you too. Thank you so much.
We could talk for hours, but I just appreciate you so much. And thank you. I think everybody really got a lot out of it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. And have fun with it. It's so much fun. It's a great party trick, by the way. It's really fun. If you have nothing to talk about, just ask someone their birthday and bring your book. It'll be fun.
It really is. And guys, we will order these books, so we will soon have those in stock. And thank you so much, Doreen. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
For being
Thank
here.
you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.